Sources have indicated to On TV that just after 3:15 this morning, there was a heavy police presence in the city's East End. The focus seemed to be around Willowdale Street, with roadblocks established east of Boundary to Fournier. All side streets were reportedly shut down. At last word, OPP, City Police, the K9 unit and EMS were all at the scene. We'll provide more information when it becomes available. The city's Public Works and Engineering Services Department would like to inform motorists and pedestrians that Great Northern Road at the McNabb Street intersection will be closed for approximately 2 days starting Saturday at 3 a.m. The closure is required to facilitate final water main connections. Motorists and pedestrians are urged to be cautious and to obey all detour signage in that area. The Ford government introduced its mini budget yesterday, and it fails Sault Ste. Marie and Northern Ontario, charged Stephen Del Duca, Ontario Liberal leadership candidate. Del Duca delivered his response to the fall economic statement from Sudbury. Del Duca said Ford is a bull in a china shop. His ministers are so distracted by his tweets, his outbursts, and scattershot policy that they aren't focused on the things that matter, and that's meant Sault Ste. Marie has been ignored. Del Duca wants to develop a Northern Ontario action plan, including high-speed internet access for Northern and rural Ontario, more investment for roads and bridges, better access to medical doctors in the north, building capacity for autism services in the north, and a full review of provincial organizations to see if any of them can be expanded to northern communities. The Ontario Liberal Party will hold a northern debate in Sudbury on January 12th. Del Duca continues to meet with Northern Ontarians and will release his full Northern platform before that. Ontario's teachers are preparing to challenge the government in court over a new law that caps all public sector wage increases. It limits those increases to 1% a year for the next 3 years, which Treasury Board President Peter Bethlen-Falvey calls a fair and time-limited approach to eliminating the deficit. More than 1 million public sector workers would be affected by that bill, which applies to employees at school boards, universities and colleges, hospitals, long-term care homes, and other organizations. Shortly after it passed in the legislature last evening, the 4 major unions representing high school, elementary, Catholic, and French teachers in the province issued a joint statement. The unions are all currently in negotiations with the government for new contracts, and they say it tramples on collective bargaining rights. They say that the passage of the legislation all but shatters any prospect of good faith bargaining, and they're preparing a court challenge. Although the bill passed last night, it's retroactive to June 5th when it was first announced. Most of the province's teachers are already gearing up for a potential strike, as they can say even at the bargaining table, there is no real movement. Police said yesterday that officers responding to a late-night medical call from a Brampton home discovered the bodies of 2 boys as they charged the children's father with murder. 52-year-old Edwin Bastidas was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Constable Heather Cannon said investigators are not seeking any other suspects. Police have not released the cause of death and said it was not immediately apparent to investigators that they were dealing with homicides. Cannon said someone in the residence called 911 late Wednesday on what was described as a medical call. A mother and 2 sons were laid to rest in hand-hewn pine coffins in a single grave dug out of the rocky soil yesterday at the first funeral in Mexico for the victims of a drug cartel ambush that left 9 American women and children dead.
Well, it's definitely very challenging. It takes everything to accept, to be able to assimilate it, to realize that how the cruelty, the heartlessness of these people that do something like this for their own purposes or whatever it might be, that we don't even know where it came from or how or why. We're still trying to understand and figure it out, but definitely it's undescribable what it is to lose 3 mothers and 6 children in such tragic loss, violence.